I'm Jeffrey. This is Joel Blackford with another question. Putin, the Russian bear on the prowl. Is he looking for war? What's going on?
We are in interesting times. We know that there seems to be 1.8 billion people that died going into the Great Tribulation. That's seal number 4, and we seem to be on the cusp of seal number 4. We've gone through seal number 3 and 2 and 1, and I've given you enough proof for all of that. But Putin doesn't seem to want to come out and start the war. He's trying to do it by proxy. He's trying to encourage Syria to start the war, or Lebanon to start the war, so he's arming them with S300s and S400s to start to knock down Israeli planes. But Israel knows how to jam those defense mechanisms and those missiles. Then he's also arming Gaza, and what he's doing is it's a proxy of a proxy. So he's sending them through Iran. Iran is literally flying weapons into Lebanon now. And so we are setting up for a war, but also he's setting up for a war. He's got his tanks on the border of the Ukraine right now, so he's trying to set up a proxy war there where he attempts them to fight him. He doesn't want to start it. He's a smart man. He's a chess player, and he's a brilliant chess mind. So what he's trying to do is get someone else to start it, and he doesn't care where it starts. But he knows that there's a word in the Bible called exousia, and so it is where you have delegated authority. So what I'm arguing is that Putin has these mystics. So he's the Russian bear, no doubt about it, but he's got a guy by the name of I'm blanking on his name right now. So there's, first of all, there's Alexander Dugin, which is his mystic. So that's his, Rasputin was 100 years ago. So Dugin is his mystic right now, and Dugin is a Eurasian person that wants to have the Eurasians be the most powerful in the world. And so they're very nationalistic, they're very warlike, and Dugin is just like Rasputin of many, many years ago. So what you should see is Dugin advising him, because he has this spiritual connection to, let's call them fallen angels or something like that, kind of telling him this is the time, this is exousia, when you have the time to be able to start the war and cause other nations to falter. So Putin probably will wait and see who's going to start this and look like the bad guy, and then he'll try to look like the good guy. I wanted to cite one thing, just so you're aware of this, that there are princes, and then there are territorial mystics and territorial princes. And so the prince of the kingdom of Persia prevented me from coming for 21 days, but Michael, one of the chief princes, came to assist me, and that's Gabriel, so that I was no longer needed there with the kings of Persia. So I come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the Akarith Hayumim, which is the end of days, for there is still another vision which will relate to those days. So this is Daniel being told by Gabriel that there are these princes and mystics in these territories, and they work together. It might only be one guy, and we talked about Rasputin, and in this case Dugin, but there are others. There are others. If you look across the world today, there are these mystics that communicate with dead spirits, so to speak, or dead people to their spirits. So what I want you to be aware is that Russia is starting a Star Wars campaign. By 2040, they will have a lunar colony on the moon, because NASA just announced that last week. And China is talking about doing the same thing too. So if you were going to start World War III, you'd want to have your troops on the moon, and that's what they're planning to do. All three of these nations, the United States, Russia, and China, want to have people on the moon, and so if things blow up on the Earth, they'll have living bodies up there to come back and repopulate when it's safe. So it seems as though Russia is trying to lure people into proxy wars all across the globe. They're using Iran primarily. They're using oil to entice people, and then they have the power, it seems, to start the war. And that's what it seems is going on right now. We're just waiting for somebody to take the bait.
Well, you talk about the mystics and his mystics that he confides in. This reminds me a little bit of things that I've heard of the Nazi regime, and the gate, whatever the gate or the stairway that was in Germany.
They imported all the blocks from Pergamos, the seat of Satan, we could call it, but it was Zeus. that they had in Pergamos up to Nazi Germany just before Hitler started. And then there are lots of stories about the Nazis having these seances and other things like that to communicate with the spirit world so that they could learn when to fight. You wonder, Hitler really didn't want to start World War II when he did, but then somebody must have told him this is the right time, because really we needed the nation state of Israel to occur in 1948. And Hitler probably didn't want to start until the 40s, because he needed his young men to grow up a little bit and be able to fight. So he started sooner, but obviously it was in God's timetable, and the mystics told him to start it now, and he, obviously kicked it off. So what you'll notice is that there's a timing, there's mystical spirits that direct these things. There's a time that's allowed for these dark spirits to do what they do. And we as believers in Yeshua, or for the least bit in the Torah and God, that we should be aware of all the things that are occurring and really increase our faith during this time, because it's going to be a dark time.